Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and change. If it's Tuesday, that can mean only one thing. Duane Long is here. Duane, we just experienced 2 or 3 of the nicest days of the year in a row, and today promises more. What are your vibes?
It's warming up. We've made it through another winter, it looks like, and happy days are here. We got spring football coming up, Dan. Damn. We haven't seen that for a couple of years here, so I'm excited. I'm really enjoying waking up every morning right now.
At the risk of being overly optimistic, it does seem the world is on its way to getting back to normal. One thing that's remained normal is Ohio State's ability to dominate on the recruiting trail. The plan for today was Duane's top 5 remaining class of 2022 prospects. Even better, there's been some news and there's been an offer, so we're going to even update that list, but we are going to give you Duane's top 5 in the class of 2022 that's still on the board, and we will mix in current events as we go. Number 1, this offer is not current, but it is big, and so is the prospect. Tennessee defensive tackle Walter Nolen.
Walter Nolen is a flat-out freak. Flat-out freak. This kid is 300 pounds. He plays defensive end in high school. And I'm telling you, he could play defensive end in college at that size. Yeah, he's an absolute monster. He's got really long arms. His first step is off the charts. He's not having to push linemen around. He's going around them. He's going by them like they're standing still. And when he needs to, he runs right through them. He is an incredible specimen. 2016 was easily the best defensive tackle class I've ever seen. No doubt about it. This kid fits in the top 5 of a class that I think has put 8 guys in the NFL out of the top 10. Just that incredible. He is something. He is a specimen. To me, Quinn Ewers and Walter Nolen are unquestionably, for me, the 2 best football players in this class. Nolen lists us as warm. It doesn't seem like there's really any favorites listed at this point. He's special. If we could get him, wait on him until signing day, after signing day, no question about it. This is a guy that we want, top of the list.
Yeah, the waiting game won't be an issue for a player of this caliber. See JT Tuamalo for an example. But once again, Nolen is that classic Southern big fella that we've never been able to get to come up here on first blush. So you got to assume he's going to end up at LSU, Georgia, or Alabama. Pulling him out of Tennessee would be an enormous coup. Number 2 on the board, Enai White, defensive end out of Philly.
He belongs in the same category as the Bosa kids. He's that impressive. He's that explosive. He makes things happen. He plays the run and he rushes the passer. The only guy we've recruited who's been really just flat out better in recent times is Chase Young. And I like where he's at. We seem to be doing really well in that area. And he keeps talking about us. That's what this list is about. If I just narrowed it down to who I thought we could really absolutely get, it would be a different list. This is who I want to see and that we're actually making inroads with.
This will come up again, but it is very clear that the Larry Johnson, Bosa brothers, Chase Young vibes are out there, and they are among the most commonly referenced individuals by name when you talk about any group of guys being recruited right now at any position. Number 3 on the board, we have been all over this largely because Steve Wiltfong has been the man on this recruitment ever since Keonte Goodwin was an enormous 8th grader. He's now a chiseled class of 2022 left tackle prospect. Your thoughts?
Well, first, this offensive line class, we want to add offensive linemen every year, especially tackles. Absolutely. It's a good thing we're not really in need of offensive tackles because, we got Paris Johnson in here. Max Ray looked like he was just needing an opportunity to step in So if we lose both our tackles after this year, we just got to worry about adding depth. Get some guys in here that we can develop. And Keonte Goodwin is a beast. It's not a great offensive line class. So what you do is you take this kid. He's had a great offseason so far. Just in the drills, people need to realize that, think what they talk about. What about pads? What about pads? Don't worry about pads. This is all simulated pass rushing stuff. The defensive lineman has such an advantage. They don't have to play the run. They can just go after the tee off and go after the quarterback. We've all seen it. We've been watching football since we were kids. When the defensive line knows that all it has to do is rush the passer, it's different for the passer. And he handled all these guys. He's just the upside with this kid. You take him, don't even think about it. Stick him in the weight room and let him come along. He is absolutely love having this kid, especially in an offensive line class that is not that impressive.
Let's address a couple things you said there first. Betting men should place cash on both Ohio State tackles leaving for the draft next year. Mumford because of age, Nicholas Petit-Frere because he's going to be an emerging and studly prospect. As for the other guys, Mark Porter has reviewed several of these dudes, and there'll be links in the story here for the BM5 for you to go check it out. His reviews on Walter Nolen and Keonte Goodwin are especially cool. We're going to come right back and talk about two more guys on Duane's top 5 list. All right, we're back. This is a name we hadn't heard much about. There's a story on the site right now about his number of suitors, and it is a big number. But Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, a defensive lineman from Lakeland, Florida, with Oklahoma ties, certainly knows something about the Buckeyes. We talked about guys referencing Bosa, Larry Johnson, Chase Young. GBD did all of that.
He did. And he knows that is important, that he's paying attention to Ohio State enough to know who the defensive line coach is, who's come out of Ohio State. Obviously, he's looking at, not just college ball. He's looking at the pros. And he plays defensive end in high school. He's another one of these freaky guys. Good defensive line class, Buckeye Nation. And this kid, he can move. Probably going to grow into a defensive tackle, but you don't care. If he grows into a tackle, we could use some tackles. He plays defensive end in high school and plays it well. His first step and his closing speed. One play that stood out on this film, the quarterback is trying to set up a screen, and before he can get the ball off, he's sacked. This kid just closed ground that quickly and put him on the ground. And like I said, you get a strong side end out of him, or you get a defensive tackle out of him. Don't worry about it. Just take him. Outstanding, really big-time kid.
Yeah, I mentioned the Oklahoma ties. Both of his parents are from Oklahoma, though they have relocated to Lakeland, Florida. The current crystal ball action has him Oklahoma bound, but it does sound like his recruitment is pretty wide open. All right, we're going to finish with a guy who just got an Ohio State offer, an in-state dude. Speaking of Mark Porter, he is working on his review, Scouting Ohio 22 offensive lineman, and this guy will be in there. Wayne's Emil Wagner. He is a big emerging prospect, really good athlete. I actually saw him play basketball as a reserve, center for the Wayne basketball team that just got knocked out of the playoffs. But your thoughts on the offer to Emil Wagner?
Well, let me say this first. I know people are going to say Duane got an opportunity to name 5 guys that he really wants to see in this class. And what did he do? He picked 5 linemen. Yeah, I did. Well, I pay more attention to line play than most do. But look, we got a quarterback, a kid that's looking like a generational talent. We got 2 receivers, and we're already had a stocked receiver room. We got 2 tight ends, and we really don't need a running back. We got 2 cornerbacks. We got linebackers. We already have those positions really locked down. And my philosophy has always been, if you get the number 1 recruiting class, great. But it's just fill needs. And we need linemen. especially on defense, and it's a really good defensive line class, really good, both end spots and tackles. So, yeah, I picked Emil Wagner. He moves so well. Watching him run a defensive back down who made an interception, I could not believe I was watching that. He's super athletic. Yeah, he's a little lean. He's a little thin, but we can add 25, 30 pounds to him. You know, he doesn't have to weigh 300 pounds. He'll be super athletic and be able to get out in front of people and be strong. I love the offer, especially in a line class that is not very good. It's not impressive.
Some interesting tidbits on Wagner. First, his older brother, Ahmad Wagner, was a starting power forward on Wayne's state championship basketball team a few years ago. Went to Iowa to play basketball, transferred to Kentucky to play football. I think last year he was in camp as a tight end with the Chicago Bears, so the bloodlines are good. Also interesting, the other backup center currently on Wayne's basketball team is Elijah Brown, the Alabama tight end commit who Ohio State did not offer. So that's kind of interesting in and of itself. Once again, be on the lookout for Mark Porter's review on offensive linemen. Duane will be in there commenting. Have a good one, Bucknutters.